So the reading is from the book Happy Life, Divaldo Pereira Franco by Joana de Angelis. Exile evil from the providence of your life. Replace the sick thought with a healthy one. Cut the pernicious net of unjustifiable suspicions with the scissor of belief in your neighbor. It is a torment to live armed against others, to see the negative side first, to detect imperfections. There is nobody on earth without defect, just as there is not a single person who does not also possess virtue, bad as that person may be. Look for everyone's good side, and you will find that you are renewed and affable. So let us all change our thoughts to the good ones, elevating our thoughts to our Master Jesus. Let's feel the peace and love that Jesus is sending us every second. And let's take the opportunity that we are here today to thank Him for all the good lessons that He brought to us. Let's ask Him to open our minds and our hearts for the lessons that we're going to learn today. Let's ask Jesus to bless our brother Marcos, that all his learnings can be shared with us with love and peace. So be it.
Good morning, everyone. I just need to make one quick announcement before we get started with Marco. You know that we transmit all of our lectures here online through the FAB TV in Brazil. It goes worldwide. We have people that can log in and watch our lectures. It's been a very good experience. We added a second camera to kind of take a snapshot every so often of the group. But because we do kind of care for your privacy, we wanted to know if anybody has an objection for us doing this today as a test. It will be 3 to 5 second shots. It's not very close up. But if you're not comfortable, please just let me know now and we will figure out another way to do this test. Is this okay with everyone? I see nodding heads. My lawyers will be happy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can see.
Thank you, Joe. Good morning, all of you.
Good morning.
Today we're gonna talk about a very delicate theme. I was not sure about to choose that one, but here we go. Well, there is no doubt that there is evil in the world. It's not hard to see. And one of the most common questions that people has is why God allow evil and suffering. In fact, for many people, is the reason why they don't believe that God exists. They cannot just see how a good, a powerful God could exist when there is this much evil and suffering in the world. Crime, terrorism, wars, persecution, poverty, disasters. Well, to cover the whole thing here, we're gonna follow a script where I'm gonna start talking about God and His attributes, and then I'm gonna answer the question. Actually, I'm not gonna answer the question. Emmanuel is gonna answer the question for us. And we're also gonna define what is evil and how difficult God's works to manage the universe, and how evil affects the universe, and where we come from, where we're heading, and why God allowed this. And I'm gonna wrap everything with how God will end evil in the world. Good? Can we go? Okay, let's go. Spirit's book. First question, what is God? God is the supreme intelligence and the first cause of all things. Question number 13. What are the attributes of God? So God is eternal. He is one. He is immutable. He doesn't change. Immaterial. All powerful. God is perfect. He also supremely good and just. And these are from our point of view. There are things which our intelligence cannot understand and our limited language cannot define. One of those things is God, right? Here are just few of the God's attributes. God is much more than that. Then back to our question. At first, it might seem that if God created all things, then evil must have been created by God. Right? We don't think so. That's why we're going to ask Emmanuel. And Emmanuel answered that in the book O Consolador, the Consoler or the Comforter. Unfortunately, this book is not translated to English yet. So the translation you're going to see right now here was done by me, so forget if I did any mistake. But anyway. Question 135. If divine determinism is good, who created evil? And the Emmanuel answer is, the divine determinism is composed of one law, which is the law of love for the universal community. Trusting himself more than in God, man transforms his weakness into focused actions contrary to that law, the law of love, causing an improper intervention in the divine harmony, the evil. We knew it. We knew it. God did not create evil. We knew it. Right? It was man. So now what we need to do is translate this whole thing here, because each paragraph of Emmanuel, it's like a gallon of a concentrated juice that need to be dissolved in several gallons of water. Emmanuel has this amazing capacity for synthesis. He condenses knowledge like no one else. So when you read this, you get confused. It's, okay, it's man, but let's elaborate a little bit more about that. So first we're gonna define what is evil, right? So evil is not a thing. Evil is not like rock or electricity. You cannot have a jar of evil. Evil has no existence of its own. And most of you know me already, and you guys know that I like analogies. An analogy here is going to help me. So if a person is asked, does code exist? Especially us that live here in Canada, we're going to say yes. Right? However, this is incorrect. Code does not exist. Code is the absence or lack of heat. Similarly, darkness does not exist. Darkness is the absence of light. So, using the same logic, evil is really the absence of good. And better, evil is the absence of God. Whoa, 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 whoa. Too fast, right? So, okay, I'm going to slow down a little bit. God runs the world. It's not us, it's God. So, he runs the world with love, mercy, and justice. But there are issues in the evolution of the planet that goes beyond the human cognition, which are far beyond our human capacity. So, imagine you have to learn one new language. The majority of us here, Brazilians, know what I'm talking about, right? So my English is still terrible after all years my family and I haven't been here in Canada. So imagine if you have to learn our language of the planet Earth. Not only that, imagine you have to learn our cultures, ways of dressing, eating habits, different behaviors. It's too much diversity. There are too many different spirits evolving on Earth. There are different spiritual levels and there are gaps between cultures. We can have two spirits in the same level but in two different cultures. Being a spirit in China is very different than to be a spirit here in Canada. The challenges are different. So this diversity is a big challenge to a human being. There is no incarnate spirit capable of that. No one is able to cope well with all this diversity. And that's why we have a spirit of Jesus governing the planet. Jesus is capable of dealing with all the issues involving the evolution of the planet. That means there is an intelligent controlling the planet. Someone prepared to put in charge by the Creator. So then you have an idea how difficult it is to manage the universe. Just about the simple example that I gave you right now. So if it's so difficult for a human being manage the universe, so we need to have someone capable to do that. And what we have Jesus. Why? Because God has other problems to manage, right? So if we imagine it that God has to deal with the infinite universe, you have an idea what is the problem that a spirit like Jesus has to deal with, right? So just for example here, in your Milky Way, or galaxy, the scientists, they estimate that we have around 100 and 400 billion of stars, like your sun. And they estimate roughly around 200 billion galaxies, like our galaxy. We are talking about trillions of planets. And I'm not even talking about the spiritual world. I'm talking about physical planets. And this is the God's set of tasks. But God also has assistants to help him. And his assistants are spirits who are at the level not understandable to humans yet. We know one of them. He is the governor of our planet. He is responsible for us. That means things are in order. It is all part of a big plan. But the things are not ready yet, period. So in order to advance, I need to recap some very important points we cannot forget, right? Who runs the world? God. But not only the world, he is responsible for the entire universe. He runs the entire universe, the infinite creation. God is the supreme intelligence. I love this part because the spirits didn't say God is a force, an energy. They said God is a being. This is very strong because it gave me the idea that the universe is running by someone that thinks, but not simply think. He's the greatest thinker of the universe. He's the supreme intelligence. The most important or the most intelligent person in the world knows no more than earthly things. How about the things on the other planets? How about the things about the infinite universe? Probably they don't know. So God is the supreme intelligence. Again, someone is thinking universe. And more, he is the first cause of all things. There are secondary causes. Like, for example, us. Like me. I can be the cause of many good and bad things. God allow us to also be the cause. But the universe, he is the primary cause. That's great, because if someday the universe ends, God will not be affected. God is much more than the creation. He is the creator. And he does not depend on the creation to exist. And the most important message we cannot forget is God is in the driver's seat. Okay? So we look around us and it seems that everything is wrong. We have a big problem. What is this big problem? Evil. Can you imagine if everything in the world will be perfect? It would be great, right? But I'm not only talking about the moral evil. I also am talking about the physical and moral illness. I'm also talking about the human condition. We have the spiritual body that is aging, that is weak, and becomes will, and at some point die. I also talk about nature, which is also weak and ages too. The stars, they get older like us. So evil is people killing people, people doing harm to each other, but also dying, aging, having trouble. Does this affect the universe? Could evil contaminate the universe? Does this problem that we're facing today affect the sphere of God? And of course, the answer is no. In the sphere of God, everything is perfect like Him. The problem is localized. We don't have a cosmic problem. Imagine if I have the privilege of interviewing God and asking Him directly, Father, how is the universe? And for sure, He's going to say, oh, it's doing well, my son. I have billions of divine words, inhabited only by angelic beings. It is wonderful. I have billions of happy words. They are not all angels, but there is no evil. Everything is working fine in there. I have countless of regenerative words. They still have some problems, right? But everybody has goodwill, and they will get there. But I have a few billions that are in that phase of trial and expiation, and those planets, they give me a little more work for my administration. For then, I need to send some messengers, and I have to keep watching them very closely. My son, managing the universe is not that easy, but don't worry, it's a local problem. For sure, that's what he's going to tell me, right? And also he's going to say, I also have billions of a primitive word. They are in the beginning, they are just babies, right? We just need to change diapers, breastfeed them, and put them to sleep. Let's do a pause here. What is the message that I'm trying to say here? Or what's the message God is trying to tell us? The majority of us thinking that evil that we're seeing here around us has taken over the universe. And God is terrified. It's like he was going to say, oh my God, I lost control. Oh, he's not going to say, oh my God. Yeah. Oh, myself, I lost control. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. No, everything is under control. God is calm, relaxed in front of the infinite of his creation. Believe me, don't worry. Those trial and expiation planets, the ones with the small problems, they are nothing. Right? God is so wise that he spreads dance around the universe. Instead being like 5, 10, 50 solar system with troublemaker planets, he puts one problematic among a lot of good ones. In our solar system, we are the troublemaker. The whole solar system, only us is causing problems. The other planets, they don't have physical bodies anymore. Everything already settled. Then, the message here is God spread dance to make it clear that the problem is small, considering of the infinite of greatness of creation. Recap, God runs the world, runs with justice, mercy, love. There is evil? Yes, there is. We have a problem with evil? Yes, we have. But it's a small problem. Right? The infinite creation, proportionally, it is a small problem. For us, a big problem. For a God, small problem. This is very important to understand. Now, where did we come from? Sorry. Let's look at the Bible. The Bible starts with Genesis and God creating. He created everything in 6 parts. So he divided the tasks. And when anything was created, then it was submitted to quality assurance. And after passing quality assurance, God saw that it was good. The moral lesson behind this, that God does not build all at once. He does gradually. He creates all spiritus perfectible, but not perfect yet. So each spirit has to build its own greatness with the help of God. The same way, the planet was not born a happy world. The planet Earth was born a baby, like a primitive world. And it has grown and grown and then been improving until it becomes a world of trial expiation where we are right now. And what Kardec said about our planet like us, just remind you, there are worlds where evil prevails. And God's job in this planet is to extract evil. To get a word of regeneration, we need to go through a surgery, right? Kardec treats evil like a disease. And in the happy worlds, people have no physical bodies anymore. No more sickness, no more pain, no more death, no need to sleep, eat. That would be wonderful. We will get there, even if you don't want to. Because a time will come that you get tired and you want to be there too. So happiness in today's world, it is impossible. Impossible. Starvation, pain, death, everything we're seeing today. There is only one way to be completely happy in this world. If we change the world. Imagine a world with no countries, nothing to kill or die, no religion, everybody live in peace, no possessions, no need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of men, and everybody sharing everything. John Lennon, 1971. That's beautiful, right? So if we take out all the bad things in the word, what are we going to have? A new word, a regenerated word. So back to the Bible. On the sixth day, God created man in his own image after his likeness. In the symbolic language of the Bible, he created a man. Why one? Is to give us a lesson, right? There is no difference between any human being. The Bible has no interest to teach us history. The Bible wants to teach us a moral lesson. And what is the lesson? There is no difference between us. We are all the same. But Adam was perfect? No, he was not. When God created man, he did not say it was good. At the end of each day, God looked at what was created by a community of pure spirit, but this is another lecture, and God said it was good. He blessed Adam, but he did not say it was good. He probably thought the man will be good one day, and he rested at 7th day. So God is working to perfect the creation and looking to finish the job for him to rest. It's like the story of the mankind is heading for a big Saturday. The Saturday in your case is Sunday, because it was replaced later. This is another story. So Saturday or Sunday is a symbol of the rest when you become a pure spirit. That's it, over. You won. There is no more harm in you. There is no more evil in you. You can enter in the happy world realm. But we are not there yet. Then God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden. The garden had billions of trees. And in the middle of the garden was the tree of life. There was also a tree called knowledge of good and evil. Knowledge here means experimentation. Right? Why I need to try evil to learn something. Does that make sense? Why I need to beat my wife, or my wife need to do something wrong to me for us to learn about relationship? Why? That's why God said, leave this tree alone. Anyway, God thought it was not good to leave man alone, and he created Eve. And the idea for them was to be the perfect couple. Everything was good. They were husband and wife, and more. They didn't have problem with working. They didn't have any problem with the housing, right? They had everything. They had a place to live. They were naked, and they didn't have mother-in-law or a father-in-law. Everything was perfect until the serpent showed up. Then comes the evil. When we think the story of Adam, Eve, and the serpent, the first thing that comes to our mind, it's about the sexual issue. But why? What this obsession with sex? There is nothing sexual in the story. They both are naked, man and his wife, and we are not ashamed. And also there was no apple. The Bible doesn't say which fruit was. People put the apple in the store, and also to even make more worse, they put sex in the story too. The story does have nothing of that. The serpent was the smartest animal that God had made. The serpent is the symbol of evil. It is small, winding, it crawls, and you're not careful, it bites you. This is the metaphor of the Old Testament. Evil begins tiny. Tiny. Begins slowly. If you make a mistake, it catches you. But why can it catch you? Because it makes you a promise. According to the Genesis, That is the root of evil. Which promise was that? The serpent comes to Eve and asks, what is the rules of the game here? And can you eat fruit of any tree of the garden? And Eve said, God is the boss. He created everything here, and there is a law that must be followed. We can eat fruit from any tree except one. And the serpent said, except one? No sense. Forget him. The parameter of the universe is the man, not God. We have to follow a human parameter. Let's create our own rules. Doing our way will be as powerful as God. Why we need to follow his laws? God said that because he knows when you eat that fruit, your eyes will be opened. And you get smarter than him. You'll be like God. Really? Have Eve thought. I like the idea. I'm going to talk to my husband and convince him. So Adam and Eve, they could pass their entire life eating every day a fruit of a different tree. But the challenge here is to eat the fruit of the only exception, the forbidden tree. So the serpent project is try evil and you'll be like God. You need nobody, not even God. Quickly, Eve convinced Adam, and they enter in this project, which is the human project until today. What is the project? A human solution to a problem that's not human. A material solution to a problem that's not material. A project without God. Self-sufficiency. The old wives' tale they told us was not a story about Adam and Eve. It is about man being able to create something more perfect than God. It is about man being able to find a more perfect solution than God to the problem of evil. This is the story of man putting God aside and turning himself to a God. Like Emmanuel said, trusting him more than in God. The man took God away from the center and put something else in his place. When you put something else in the place of God, that thing becomes a God, and you start loving this God. There is a lot of examples of those gods. One of them, Mammon. In the New Testament, Mammon means money, material wealth, and is associated to the greed, pursuit of gain. Take out God and put money in his place, right? You shall worship money and sacrifice things for this God. The logic here is very interesting. You begin to sacrifice family, relationships with children, spiritual life. You sacrifice everything to worship that God. Do you want another example? In Brazil, it's very common right now, cult of the body beautiful, right? The physical perfection, right? So they sacrifice, people put that cult of body in the center, and they sacrifice everything because they have to love their God. So cosmetic doping, butt lift injections, plastic surgeries, you name it. You want more examples? Sex, power, etc., etc. The bottom line here is the spirits become a polytheist. They worship many gods. But what did God ask us to do? Love God above all things. He did not ask you to not like money or wealthy. He did not say you must hate that. He did say to God him above all things. If you put God in the center, and you love God above all, everything else, you may like it. You will cope well with it, with them, but you will not stay in the center. Let me try to explain in a different way. If the center of the universe is God, which law is in place? The law of equality of all beings. If I put myself in the center of the universe, which law prevails here? Everything to me, nothing to you. What is it? Selfishness. I am better, you are worse. What is it? Pride. Spirit book, question 785. Pride and selfishness, wounds of humanity. They are what generate all moral evil. So before was kingdom of Marco, or a kingdom of God. Now is kingdom of Marco. The kingdom of self. I am God. Everything to me. I'm better than everybody. Well, there are some big problems with this project. One is when you get sick. I had some kidney stones a few years ago, and I can tell you, when I was feeling that pain, I think you know what I'm talking about, I quickly realized that I'm not God. That pain, I think it's similar with the birth, what the humans give birth. Childbirth is. So in our level, with the spiritual body here, right? How we could imagine it that we could be God, self-sufficient? How? You want another problem? Well, I put myself in the center, right? But let's say Clay he's in the center too, Jacqueline too, Joe too. Everyone wants to put themselves in the center. Now it's complicated. There is no way to have everyone in the center, because a word what everyone wants to be in the center becomes to chaos, a mess. We have to accept that the serpent work was really, really good, because 7.5 billion people believe in that project and are doing that today. The world accepted that project and they still believe in it until today. So in 1970 in Brazil, we had this TV commercial that immortalized this concept. In short, Gerson's law is taking advantage of everything and everyone and having no concern to ethics. In the commercial, that cigarette brand was claiming to be better and cheaper in comparison to other brands. And at the end of the commercial, Gerson, that was a football player, soccer player, said, I like to get advantage in everything. Take advantage, you too. So everybody wants to be smarter than others. Everybody wants to make more than others. Everybody wants to take more advantage. And nobody wants to share. In the philosophy of evil, I have to stay in the center. So everyone has to be out. It is the philosophy of win and lose. And in order for me to win, you have to lose. And lose a lot. Just win is not good enough. I have to humiliate my opponent. So the chaos was instituted in the world. Evil took over the economy. Evil took over the politics. Evil took care of everything. Evil elects president. Evil elects senators. Every man for himself, better me than him. I want to solve my problem. I don't care about the others. That is why we can't solve any problem today. We cannot get together, and the solution is unite people. Work together in groups and not compete against each other. like we're doing now. And why does God allows that? Oh, Spiritism goes straight to that point. It would be much simpler if God created the universe perfect. Imagine God saying, I don't want anyone imperfect. I'm going to create everything and everybody perfect. Can he do that? Yes, he can. Why? Because he's the Almighty. He can do whatever he wants, but he created divine laws to govern the universe. Let's think for a moment here now. When God, all-powerful, and he can do everything he wants, and the most important, he has the power to do that, he creates laws. What God done to himself? He limited himself. When God creates laws, he is the first one to obey them. We don't think about it, right? He could say, I will not go over those laws anymore. I'm doing otherwise instead. I'm going to do something different here. Can he do that? Yes. And why he doesn't do it? Because he creates perfect laws. He is immutable. He will not change, the better for worse. When you do something perfect, that's not human. Because no human being is capable to create something perfect. When you create something today and you think it's the best, and actually it is the best, but in 10 years, somebody else creates something better. The best is no longer best anymore. There is another best now. But this does not happen to God. When he creates something, it is the best. And it is the best forever. So he created perfect laws, so he limited himself, and he made two decisions. Decision number one, he created all spirits simple and ignorant. Everybody will be perfectible, simple and ignorant, but destined to perfection. Second decision, free will. He could say, I will raise my kids, but no one will disobey me. They will not have options. And that's what I want, and that's it. But he did not want that. He wanted free will. Right? And why? Let's do a quick recap here. So he created everybody simple and ignorant. Everyone starts from the scratch. No exceptions. Everyone is equal. No exceptions. Maximum potential, but no result. The divine potential is in here, within us. It is a seed. It has nothing built yet. We have to build everything from scratch. And more, with free will. Well, if it is with the free will, then I, Marco, so small, very low level spirit, I can look to God, the Almighty, and I can say, I do not agree. I'm not going to do it. And what God will say? Oh, good, my son. I respect you. Free will. And then evil is created. Right? The creatures have absolute freedom to disagree with God and choose what is not the best. This is the moral evil, ignorance. Because then I get to do experiments. Right? I started a method called try and error. And God is watching. But God is not like some parents. Like, I'm telling you, it's not going to work. I know that thing is going to fail. I know more than you. I'm more experienced. I told you. No, God doesn't do like that. He keeps watching. Let us make the mistakes. And then when it got hurt, he says, come here, son. I'm here to support you, to help you. What did you learn with this experience? I'm going to say, oh, sorry, Father. I figured it out that you're right. The best way is not going there, it's going here. And he's going to say, oh, very good, my son. Excellent. Right? So no recrimination at all. So imagine if God made the decision, no more evil in the universe. With our limit view, we can see three options. He could have no free will in the world. He could undo evil or remove who commit evil. Let's analyze all those options. Option number one, no free will. He could create us without free will. We would all serving God by obligation, not by choice. But Kardec asked that to the spirits, and they said, without free will, we would be machines. God didn't want robots that simply does whatever he wants because they're programming. God wants us with free will. Doing that, he took a chance, but at the same time, he took a chance of evil, but at the same time, he gave us the option to choose whether or not we want to serve him. Option number two, God could compensate for everyone's evil actions through supernatural 100% time intervention. Imagine if God stopped a drunk driver from causing a car accident. Imagine God stopping a father who is addicted to alcohol or drugs from doing any harm to his wife, children, or family. Imagine if God stopped a gunman from robbing convenience stores. Imagine if God stopping terrorists to flying airplanes into the buildings. It sounds very good, isn't it? But the idea is not attractive anymore when God's intervention does not allow us to do something we want to do. We want God prevent horrible evil actions, but we are willing to let lesser evil actions slide. Now realizing those lesser evil actions are usually the ones that lead to the greater evil actions. So should God only stop sexual affairs, or should God also block our access to pornography or end an inappropriate but not yet sexual relationship? Should God stop through thieves, or should he also stop us from cheating or tax? Should God only stop acts of terrorism, or should he also stop the indoctrination that transforms a person to be a terrorist? Complicated, right? Option number three. Another choice would be for God to judge and remove those who choose to commit evil. Has God the power to do that? Yes, whenever he wants. Ends with evil. Destroy everything. What will happen? God will have to smash his creatures. Why? Because evil is not outside. Evil is inside of us. And more, imagine if God decides to use evil to fight evil. It will be a big problem. If I use evil weapons to fight evil, then I become a villain, a bad guy. What's the difference between the criminal and avenger? Both are doing evil, both are using the violence. Then God will become a serial killer. Something bad in here, God comes with his powers, smash. Unfortunately, there are people and religions in the world today that still thinking this way. God will form an army, he will pick up weapons, kill enemies, and destroy who disagree with them. None of those options seems good. So what we learn from this? God did not create evil, but he does allow evil. And he decides to use evil as a pedagogical tool to educate us. So now the question is, how he's going to end that? Then we go back to the book, The Consoler, and Emmanuel is going to answer that for us. Urge means immediately, as soon as possible, we need to restore the sacred links that link us to God. And how are we going to do that? follow Jesus' path. Again, let's translate this very quickly. Which three options God choose to eliminate evil? Removing free will, undoing evil, or destroying who commit evil? Is God all-powerful? Yes. He could speak like me. He speak to me like this. Marco, leave the center right now. He can do that, right? But if he does that, which law he is hurting? Free will. Exactly. He cannot do that. He respect me. He respect my decision. Then option one, out. Can he undo evil? Yes. Wherever he wants. I do something wrong, and immediately he undo that. If he does that, indirectly he is affecting my free will, interfering in my life, because I'm doing something wrong because I want to. Right? So this is exactly what happened with option number one. So option number two, out. Can he remove who commit evil? Yes, he can, but he will not do it. God's not a serial killer. Right? God is supremely good and just. He will not fight evil with evil. Option number three, out too. So we don't have more options. Remember that I said our limit view, my limit view, right? So like a chess game, checkmate, evil won. No, not really, right? God will fight evil with love. So what is the God strategy? The strategy here is negotiation. Okay? God must establish a relationship with his children and let experience and time pass until the children are convinced that God's place is in the center and leaves the center by their own free will. When I leave the center and let God take his place by my own free will, I become a pure spirit. There is no more evil inside of me. Evil is defeat. So God have to convince one by one. And how will that be done? What is the God's plan? Well, he sent the purest of all. He sent us Jesus to set an example of how to get out of evil, to guide us. He opened a light path connecting earth to heaven. Now we have a model of how to solve the problem. It worked, but there is one detail. Does it happen in a blink of eye? No. It will require time. A man who is the example of someone who is the image and likeness of God. He opened the path for all to follow. He is the model of man that God would like us to be. This man come out of the cross without hate, without resentment, forgiving everyone. Jesus began to redeem some individuals who were bringing others, and this group is increasing, and very soon none of the sheep the Father doesn't trust me will be lost. Right? The evil is only conquered with the power of love. Jesus already came 2,000 years ago. The words of the regeneration work is in progress. Are you going to participate or not? Are you a spectator or you are an actor in this process? I know it is bad now and you're not going to like it, but I have to say, you allow me to do that. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. But don't worry, there is an intelligence controlling the planet. Jesus. He has divine messengers that he sent here to balance or keep the balance in the world. One day, I will put God in the center of my life, and for that reason, I will eliminate evil inside of me. One man did that already. He came in flesh and blood, and he opened a path for all of us to imitate him. That's why he is the model. He opened the path for all of us to follow him. That's why he is the guide. And he made the most perfect way. That's why he is the perfect standard. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Marco. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Yep.
I have understanding I want to share. Thank you very much. When it's more of a point, an idea that I'd like to share. When you say does God create evil, and the answer is sort of no, man created. So I really feel that if we created evil, it's within us to stop creating evil, to stop doing that. And we had, as you mentioned, a very great example of if we had a very highly evolved spirit from the Christic spheres, like Jesus himself that came here. He came to teach us by his examples, by his words, by his attitudes. And one of his sayings in Matthew 5:44 says, "But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." And you've approached evil in a way that reminds a lot about external evil, but I want to make just a reference to the evil that's within us, our hatred, our ignorance, our attachment. And I do think that if we follow the examples of our great Master Jesus, and we stop a minute to realize that the world that we live in is a product of our behavior, of our attitudes. And if the moment we live here, we start a little bit to think about our own behavior, our own feelings, sometimes not things that we necessarily do, but things that we feel, and you're able to understand that as our enemy, it's a way that you're going to grow, we're going to be closer to the light, and as a consequence, we're going to be stronger, more enlightened, help others, and therefore eliminate the evil that we are in the world. The only thing that we can transform, and this is a great teaching I had from Jesus and from the Spiritism, is that we can only change ourselves. Mm-hmm. By enlightening ourselves and by acknowledging that the enemy is within us.
Thank you very much. Alex, you want to make a
I was just going to say that last picture was very nice.
Thank you. Yes.
Again, more of a comment. I think that one of the kind of morals of an excellent lecture, by the way, is that since God did not create us evil and good, we are not evil. We do evil. And there's a fundamental difference in that.
Yeah.
That there is no this division in
Yes,
the
it's
universe.
where was? I think I passed that already. You're saying is exactly like.
Simple and
Yeah, that one.
So you
God does not create any spirit evil from the start. They are created similarly ignorant and capable of both good and evil. Those who are evil have become so through their own will. Yeah,
and if
that's what
we
we're saying.
kind of come to the conclusion that doing evil is any action that goes against the laws of God, we all do that. So we all have a bit of evil inside ourselves. And we should avoid, especially again to the point of putting us in the middle, judging others, that others are more evil than we are.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, Alex?
I was going to say, I was more of a comment, right? With evil, I would it's hard to. It's something hard to understand, and to understand why people do evil things. You sort of have to understand why they want to do such things in the first place. It's almost like looking at. I've seen it a couple of times, a person, and looking at their life, like in school, why they're so bitter and so nasty to people. And then you learn something about that person, that they had certain certain time in their life where they were, and it was very hard for them, and they felt like the world was against them, and what they learned from it was to be bitter. They didn't get much positive out of it, and there was nobody to help them through it, and so they find that it's the only way that they understand to cope and to lead. Also on this the same thing is when you look at these countries where they have the terrorist activity and people who rebel and commit horrible things, or even people who are put into jail, they do horrible things, they murder a certain person or out of hate or something, and you listen to this person's story, and especially people coming from war-torn countries, and they explain to you exactly what this regime or military has done to their family, whether that's destroyed them, or you see the images of war in those African countries where villages are torn apart by just rebels and war, and you start to understand why this person's hate. They don't know anything else other than seeing this destruction. They don't see they don't have our world that we live in here.
I see where we're going, right? So that's why it's so difficult for like a human being like us to judge something, but there is always like there is three sides of any history, any story here, right? There is the one person's side, the other person's side, and actually the real side of the story, right? So that's why it's impossible for us to judge. Exactly. And everybody has like a excuse to do evil things, right? So they, like the example that you were saying, they were led to do this evil thing, right? But why they didn't do? Imagine what happened with Jesus, that he only did good things. He didn't make anything wrong, and what we did with him. He could have the excuse to do the same thing, but
he
didn't.
He understood. He had a greater knowledge.
Exactly.
He understood through experience, and I'm sure the education that we all will go through someday.
That is why we need to follow him. That's why we need to use like a model, right? Because everything around us lead us to do evil things, like the Gerson laws that I show you, right? Even here, I like Queen music very much, and now understanding that we are champions, you are a loser. So everything around us pushes us to do evil things. It's us that need to decide, hey, okay, doesn't matter if I'm getting hurt, if someone's doing bad thing to me, that's not the right thing I have to do with them, right? And then stop with that.
Yeah.
If I stop that part, right, and then one day that person is going to stop doing that too, and the other one is going to do the same thing, the other one's going to do the same thing, and then we're going to go to the next phase. That's the word of regeneration, that we're still going to have evil, right? But everybody has goodwill, and those ones that they don't accept that, they're going to be separated to not perturb us or disturb us, right? And then we're going to follow our path until we reach the point that we are.
On the fence will always be in between.
They will follow the good. I feel that we always follow by example, lead by example. So if everyone around you is doing the good, you're not going to do any bad because it doesn't make any sense. So thinking that what Marco and Danielle said, and as well, we need to remember that we can only change ourselves. You cannot change anyone else. You cannot judge anyone else. So by changing yourself, and then your friend changing them, and everyone changing inside of us, one day evil will not exist anymore, because we are all gonna be good.
Yeah, the work is one by one, is individual work.
And then Wednesdays and Thursdays, you can learn all of these things.
Oh, yeah.
Through all of these
Yeah,
books,
try.
which teach us how that would work.
Okay,
It's
so
independent.
yeah, it's time to.
I guess what I was trying to say was, well, I've had like, I'm sort of finishing school, but that was that point where I didn't really thinking about this stuff, and it's really comes points where I question it. But then the thing that it reassures me is always remembering that nobody's perfect, and we are here to expiate and learn. And
Yeah,
that's
that's correct.
what we're doing. And if you fail, you have to go back up.
Yeah, that's totally true. Okay, so thank you very much, Marco. So let's prepare ourselves for our passes. Thank you everyone online. See you next Sunday.